Gotta start this over. My wife called me at the end of the video, so well, just got done with a walk. Went downtown Columbus, Ohio. Sat down there for a little bit after I walked around, hoping to see something spiritual. Didn't really see anything. I've seen a lot of unclean souls that needs prayer and needs God, more importantly, I'd say. As I'm out on these walks, I just try to use my spiritual eyes to see things instead of looking with my fleshly eyes. I use my spiritual eyes and hoping something will jump out. You know, whether it's a person who needs prayer, whether it's a person who just needs some comforting words, whatever the case may be. I don't always get it right. I'm not perfect. Don't claim to be. Oftentimes I make mistakes. Don't hear the voice where God would have me respond to somebody. I do make mistakes. I will openly admit that. I'm not perfect. I'm not Jesus. I got Jesus with me. Yeah, my biggest concern is not being able to find people. But some of my discouragement comes from, one is not being able to find somebody. Two, not having a spiritual brother here. That really hurts when you got to do this type of thing by yourself. Sorry, I'm going construction, so as you can see, it's going to be a little noisy. I got a spiritual brother that is willing to do this with me, but our time frames don't line up the way we would like. He's got a lot that he's got to take care of on the home front, and a lot I got to take care of on the home front. I work, and my schedule don't always line up with his schedule. And according to the word, it says that one can send 1,000 a flight, two can send 10,000 a flight. I'm going to change the camera view so you can see something else besides me. Pretty sure some of you don't want to see my pretty little face. So, as I walk, I'm just hoping for something. Don't really see much when I'm out and about. More often it's just the encouragement of the walk. Maybe just clearing my mind from all the garbage the world feeds it. It's kind of hard, the world not to feed you garbage when you got to work. You put yourself in situations where the world is all around you. And if you leave your house, you're in the world. Hopefully the wind's not hitting the camera and making it sound like it in the video. That would really suck. But one of these days I will have a spiritual brother to walk with me. This is what many people in the Word did. They traveled long distances to reach those who needed God, needed the Word brought to them. Sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way. I say bad way in like it's a bad message for them that probably most wouldn't want to hear. Just imagine having to walk the whole length of a country to get to somebody, or 2 or 3 countries on foot. Heck, even if it's on a camel or a horse, it'd still take a long time to reach somebody. Well, if that ain't a step of faith, I don't know what is. I haven't really gotten that before. to leave the country, but have gotten things from the Spirit to tell me to go on the other side of town. I remember this one time, Spirit told me to go to Isla Mall. I'm like, what? Yeah, go to Isla Mall. I'm like, wow, okay. All right. And that's on the other side of town. I live on the west side, in the bottoms. Well, this is clean on the east side, way out. I don't even know, maybe 20 miles. I'm just throwing a number out there. I have no idea. Could be farther, could be just a little less. But that's 20 miles, sounds about right. But anyways, so I asked my wife to drive me out there. And so I get out there. I'm asking for confirmation along the way. I always do that. You know, Lord, Father, guide me and give me confirmation that this is what you would have me do. Let me know that I'm on the right path and that I'm not being misguided by the evil one. So I get out there. I got my confirmations. And as I get out there, I go into Isla Mall, start walking around. I'm like, well, Lord, I'm here. Show me where I need to go. And as I'm walking around, I'm not really getting anything, but I did walk by a Christian bookstore. I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe this is why I'm here. So I walk in there and I'm just randomly looking around, waiting to see what Spirit might lead me to. So I took a step of faith and walked over to the two ladies behind the where the cashiers would be. And I walked up to them and I said, you guys are believers, right? And you guys are working at a Christian bookstore, so... And like, yeah, and I'm like, well, do you believe in the power of prayer? Yeah. Would you allow me to say a prayer for you? And I was like, oh yeah, go ahead. Well, I reached my hands out to try to pray. And she was like, no, they both of them was like, no. We don't do that. You can pray from there, that's fine. And I got discouraged, a little bit like, wow, okay. But everybody has their own faith, and if that's what they want to follow after, that's their choice. Feed the flock of God willingly and not by constraint. That's what the word says. So I took the step of faith. I went ahead and said the prayer, and I went on my way. I just felt that wasn't right. That wasn't it. That's not what God wanted me to do. That's not why I was there. So I was getting to I did a whole lap around this place. And by the time I got back around, I ended up going by, I want to say I can't remember if it was Sears, Lazarus, or JCPenney, but one of them two. Sorry for the traffic. I just walked over top of a freeway. I ended up going into one of them. I don't remember which one it was. I went inside and started getting this feeling that, maybe it's in here that somebody needs something, maybe not. Like if I don't get anything before I get to the end of this department store, by the time I get to the next exit to leave, I'm just going to leave and just take it as maybe it was for them women in that bookstore. Well, just before I get to the exit, well, let me paint a picture for you, okay? I used to walk around with a purple ribbon around my arm, my left arm, and use that as a reminder to myself, and it's also a talkative piece. But oftentimes somebody would say, hey, what's that purple ribbon for? Hey, it's a color of royalty. Hey, royalty? Yeah, I'm a child of God's, and this is my reminder. And that would open up the door a lot of times. Sometimes you just get it shut down real quick, like, oh, okay, and they'd walk away. Well, I walked by this guy. He was at this little stand in the middle of the store. I don't know what his part was there, but he was at this little stand. It was boxed in with register. Well, I walked by him, and as I was walking by him, he asked me what that ribbon stood for. Hey, what's that ribbon for? And I told him. He's like, oh man, I was just praying this morning and talking to God that, in a roundabout way, let me just paraphrase. I don't remember the exact words. I just wasn't meant for me, it was meant for him. But he was saying along the lines of he was needing some kind of spiritual uplift. I'm like, okay. I said, so you are a God believer then? You believe in God? Yeah. He said, yeah. And I said, do you believe in the power of prayer? Yeah. Would you allow me to say a prayer for you? He said, certainly. He thrust his hand out quick. So I prayed for him. And at the end of that prayer, the man was like, he was uplifted. He's like, oh man, I needed that. He was all happy and go lucky and was thrilled, man. You could see his eyes light up, man. He was just like amazed by it. Like it was like something he needed. He even said that. So I'm like, wow, okay. Now somebody can say, oh, that's just coincidence. The guy just happened to be needing, whatever. I don't care what you try to tell me it meant. I know what it meant to me, and I know what it meant to him. And there was something spiritual in it, and it wasn't just a waste of time. So how did I know that guy needed prayer? How did I know that guy needed some encouragement, some uplifting words? I didn't. God did. He heard that man prayer, heard that man talking to him. God honored it. He used one of his believers, one of his servants, to go out there who was actually listening to the Spirit, to go out there and pray for that man. And that was a long ways away too. To take a step of faith on a hope that I was going to do right. That's one example. Here's another example. Now, it says in the Word, Paul was all things and to all men in order just to win people over to Christ. Okay, well, I had a cousin. He hit me up out of the blue. And he was wanting to get together, hang out. Now, when I say this, don't judge the situation in the sense of it being a bad. I mean, I'm looking at the good, not the bad. Good will always outweigh the bad. But he wanted to get together and smoke. I was barely smoking at the time. And I really didn't want to smoke with him, but I was leaning on that scripture. Paul was all things to all men in order to win people over to Christ. So I took a step of faith and figured, God would honor that situation if it's spiritually led for some kind of spiritual growth for him. Or anybody, for that matter. But when he met up, I think I was still sleeping I was still sleeping in the tent at the time. Well, I remember going to the park. I said, hey, we can go over here to the park. And I'm talking to him spiritually as we're going about. We get over to the park. And suddenly he's like, man, I don't feel comfortable here, man. I can't do it here. He's wanting to roll something up so we can smoke it. And I'm like, man, we're safe here, because there was nobody around. We was completely out in the middle of the park. I mean, you would see somebody long before they get to us, so we'd be able to just, hide the fact of what we was there for with the smoking part. And anyways, as we sitting there, he just kept saying he did not feel comfortable with being there. Well, I'm getting a little upset. Wasn't showing it, wasn't saying it, but was like, come on, man, we could do this here, we don't have to go somewhere else. He said, man, I only feel comfortable with going to your mom's. I'm like, What? I'm like, at that time, my grandmother was at my mother's staying for the weekend. I'm like, well, we can't go there. Grandma's there. And he's like, man, she knows I smoke weed and all this and that. I'm like, sorry. I'm like, man, I don't want to go there, you know. I don't want to go there and grandma come outside and see us smoking. And he's like, man, oh, why I'm doing this, man, is if we can go there. I'm like, okay, dude. I gave in. I called my mom up. Hey, Mom. I'm here with Anthony. I'm talking to him spiritually. And I'm trying to encourage him, you know, with the word, the gospel. And we was wanting to smoke. I said, he only feels comfortable. Because from what he said, I said, let's go to your mom's. So I explained that to her. I said, my concern is grandma. You know, I know you probably really wouldn't be bothered too much with us coming there, but I'm concerned about grandma. And I was like, so what do you think? Is it going to be all right, Mom, if we come there and park behind the alley and sit back here behind the house? She said, yeah, that's fine. I said, well, can you try to keep grandma in the house where she don't come out and catch us? She was like, yeah, okay. So I told him. He's like, oh, okay. So we went to my mom's. We're in the alley. He rolls it up. We're sitting there talking spiritually. We're passing it back and forth. And as we're sitting there talking, I look up the alley as we're talking, and there's two guys at the end of the alley. And they're slowly walking toward us. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not really focusing too much on them, but I see them. Well, as they get closer, they get like probably about 200 feet or so away, probably maybe even 100 feet or so. One of them steps off to the side to use to relieve himself, and the other one kept walking toward us. Well, this guy comes up as me and my cousin sitting there talking, stops right beside us, probably 10 feet away from me. He's just standing there, dazed off, looking down the alley, the opposite direction, or the direction he's heading, but not looking at us. He just standing there. And he just randomly, just out of the blue. I'm try to be cautious on how I say this without it being offensive and vulgar language, but he said, I need my blank sucked right now. I'm like, what? I'm thinking in my head, what's going on here, Lord? I said, well, do you want me to say something, Lord? He said, tell him no unclean thing shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. I'm like, okay. I looked at him and I said, do you know that God says in his word, no unclean thing shall enter into the kingdom of heaven? He's like, what? I'm like, God says no unclean thing shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. I said, yeah, you know, you're right. I need God. I'm like, ooh, okay. Well, I was like, so do you believe in the power of prayer? Yeah. Would you allow me to say a prayer for you? He says, yeah, I need God. I'm like, okay. He walks over to me, and his buddy done caught up with us, and he's standing there, and me, the gentleman that said that, and they called each other brothers, but his brother was joined in, so we're all three holding hands. I'm praying. As I say the prayer, just as I get to the end of it, the one guy that was walking up the alley behind him that relieved himself let go of my hand, let go of his brother's hand, and then it's just me and that guy still holding hands, the one who said that he needed God. Well, just right when I let go of that man's hand, the man fell out, just passed out. He gracefully fell back and landed on the ground. It was like a cloud just laid him down perfectly and gently. But he didn't hit the ground hard, bust his head or any of that. It was just like a... Well, his brother looked at me. He's like, man, what'd you do? What'd you do? He thought I'd hurt the man. Thought I'd done something to him. And he's getting all loud, and I wouldn't say belligerent. If I remember correctly, he was like cussing me out and all this. I'm like, dude, I didn't do anything. And he's trying to get his brother up. He's like, hey, man, get up, man. Are you all right? You all right? The dude's still out of it. He's like, get up. He said, come on, man. And this dude's balling his fists up. That's how mad he is. He's thinking I done hurt him. And as he's sitting there trying to get him up, I said, just let the Spirit do its work. I said, it's doing something, man. I said, this is God cleaning him up. The ultimate part of the story, as I'm trying to get at, is it took my cousin being pushy to want to go to my mom's house, because I was fine with staying where we was at in that park, because I was just feeling moved. That's what the conversation was going to be about, was be for him. I had no clue that God had something different in mind, that he'd even used me to be a vessel to reach this man, even with my sin of smoking. I'm not smoking now. I ain't smoked in a long while. But he still used that situation to get that man, clean him up for whatever. I mean, anyways, after the guy got up, and he's like, eventually he came to, and he got up. His brother was like, are you all right, man? He's like, yeah, man. Yeah. He's like, what happened? He said, I don't know. He says, I gotta go, man. I gotta go. And they just took off walking. Like, Jesus done got a hold of you, buddy. That's the Spirit. That's what I feel so good when those situations happen. Not so much the man getting slain in the Spirit. That's the laying on of the hands. I believe by faith, there's a point to it. But you got to be careful. It says, lay your hands suddenly on no man. Be partaker of no other men's sins. Keep thyself pure. So with that, you can't just pray for everybody. There's a reason. I don't know what it is, but God says don't lay your hands on everyone. Lay your hands suddenly on no man. So there's a reason for it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because there's times that you pray for somebody that's laden with sin and it's not spiritually led, that you could receive the spirits of him, the person, female or male, on you. And then now you're carrying that around. So then you got to go to another spiritual person and have them pray for you to get them up off of you. That's a concern. I don't want to be carrying around bad spirits because it's not spiritual led. So you can't just pray for everybody. You could pray from a distance, or pray in your room, pray wherever, you know what I mean? But laying your hands on them is a whole nother thing. You got to be cautious in that. So that's what I hope to achieve when I go out and about. That just brings me joy. That's unspeakable and full of glory. Because I take that step of faith. Like I say, oftentimes I go out and I don't get nothing. Don't even get so much as a little anything, when it comes to the Spirit. All the times, like I say, I just out and about and I get, my mindset, my mind cleared. Sometimes that's enough. Come back home and I'm feeling a little refreshed just because of that. But as I say this stuff, I'm not like putting myself on a pedestal. think I've said that before in a previous video. I'm not putting myself on a pedestal above anybody. I'm not. Not like, look at me, I'm righteous. You're unrighteous. You ain't, you ain't doing these things. Better catch up, mustard. No, it's not it. Just found some confirmation. But anyways, it's really all about him. That's our duty, our job as a believer, to go out and win souls. It's not going to be your victory, but his and theirs. That's where the victory is. Yeah, you get blessed by blessing others, but you're not supposed to do it for that. If you're going out trying to bless someone else and hope to get the blessing to come to you in some kind of form or fashion, yeah, that's the wrong mindset to have. You need to go out for the purpose of winning the soul, the individual. Even if you just reach one, that's great. That's better than nothing. Because he says he'll leave the 99 to come after that one lost sheep. And to me, there's a lot of lost sheep out here. A lot. Everywhere you look, you can see at least one. More than likely, you're going to see a whole lot more than that. But that's reason why I go out and about like I do. One of the main reasons. And it's always good, All right. Back here by my home. Just want to wish you all Godspeed and blessings.